Welcome back to Just You and Me. I'm Donna.
And I am Adam. How's it going, Donna?
It's going. It's okay. How are you?
Good, good. I feel like it's been a busy week, personally and everything else that's going on in the world. But it's been good.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy week. I was in Vegas, which was really nice, I have to say, getting away and doing a kid free weekend,
Yeah.
especially in the middle of this, like, really one of maybe, and I know we've gone through some really tough times in the last few years in this world. Like I would say since 2020, I feel like it's just been a mess.
Oh yeah.
But
This last 5 years have been hell. They really have.
I really feel like it has.
Yeah. And I don't think it's just us getting older. Like I don't think it's
No,
just now we're in our 40s and it
it
just
has nothing to do with our age.
I know, but it has everything to do with what is the fuck is happening in this world is what it has to do with.
It's like a timeline shift.
Yeah, of course.
I know. I was talking to my friend Molly. I was with her last night. We went to go see Dancing with the Stars live, which was really fun.
I saw a lot of Instagram stories yesterday.
Yeah, and that was fun. It's always fun to just like get out of the house and get off, get out of your normal routine and just like see that other life is happening. I know you go out a lot during the week, go see
Yeah,
shows and whatnot. I don't ever leave my, cocoon, but it's nice to do that every once in a while. But she and I really, we always talk about like life and world politics and like, life events and stuff. And she and I always talk about the fact that like 2019 was the last time things felt kind of just normal, but we didn't know it was normal because we didn't know what was around the corner.
I know. And even with the polarized Donald Trump as president, it still felt like in 2019 everything was so normal compared to what everything is now with COVID happening, but not only COVID, but everything that came with it, like the how it became very politicized and how everybody just used that to kind of divide the country even more. And then, that lasted a good amount of time. It just continued to go. And then, of course, everything that happened in 2023 with October 7th, it just kept on adding on to each other. It's like a snowball effect. And it just feels like these last 5 years have been ridiculously tough with all of this stuff.
I mean, I think social media is really, it all builds, right? So it's COVID happened, Black Lives Matter happened.
Yes.
Um,
January 6th.
January 6th was 2021, right?
Yeah.
Happened. So everyone, all these building kind of like everyone was building, 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 building. It was like a bubble burst, right? Everyone just exploded with emotion. And then also everyone was chronically online.
Yep.
And that's when social media really became everyone's first and only tool to kind of release their feelings, emotions, and their voices. Everyone became addicted to TikTok, YouTube, and social media in general. People stopped leaving their houses and having real conversations and started just getting into their sick online profile forums, Reddits. TikTok for sure is dangerous. It could be
Yep.
amazing. I love TikTok for so many reasons, but also, as we know, can be really, really dangerous and like filled with misinformation. And also, algorithms in general really can completely radicalize you in a positive or negative way, right? Like it can do so many things for your brain.
Yeah. And I think we have been, I feel like there's an entire generation that was so affected by COVID. And I mean, COVID's the reason why TikTok took off.
1,000,000%.
And I mean, people were just doing stupid things and they were filming it and then they were posting it. So,
And it felt so light and
right, of
fun on
course.
our end because all we were doing was like, you know, I'm a savage, classy, like stupid dances.
Yeah.
Like, just, I was so confused by TikTok. I didn't understand even the point of it because I just didn't understand why we were doing these dances. But in the meantime, there were all these other people going on it and really creating a world of content. But there's also so much else because it's the dark web that was really starting to build up during that time too.
Yeah. I mean, all of these things put together kind of raised a generation of kids, and it's probably a lot of reason why we see a lot of it now when we talk about a lot of these younger kids that are still in high school or in college or even just graduating
Early
college,
20s.
right? Who are quote unquote brainwashed and have just been living by their algorithm and kind of just continuously listening to whatever the algorithm says, because this is all they were doing during the pandemic. That's all they could do. It was the way to pass time. And then at a certain point, it just becomes, fact to them.
I was looking, I mean, this is such a big conversation. I don't even know where we can go with this, but I was looking through some old photos and videos because I'm kind of like assembling some for Dylan and his bar mitzvah. And, without going into too much detail, Dylan is now, he's turning 13 and he's an anxious kid. He's always been an anxious kid, but the anxiety, the heavy anxiety really upped after COVID. And before COVID, I would say he would have his moments of like needing things to be perfect and really kind of like stressing when things didn't go his way. So he had that side of it, but
Mhm.
the anxiety, like to the point of fear and panic attacks and stuff. And you could say, okay, well, he also was really young before. So those kinds of things only happen, at a certain age. But it's not lost on me that it only happened right at 2020. And I was watching these videos and you can see a visible change in his personality
Mhm.
exactly during the pandemic. And one video was so freaking heartbreaking because he's 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7. And he's like, I think he had to like blow out a candle or do something like make a wish. It was 11/11 or blow out a candle or whatever. And I was like, what'd you wish for? And he looks so scared and so sad. And he's like, that this horrible, horrible disease ends. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so tragic that these kids had to be exposed to this.
Right. I know, because we weren't exposed to this shit when we were growing up.
No, and like we didn't know what we were exposing them to while we were going through it because we didn't realize like at the end of the day, we didn't know what the next day was going to bring.
No, and we didn't know what
The
was right.
long term.
But we also didn't know what was right and what was wrong in that moment, right? Because obviously hindsight's 2020. Because now we can look back and say, oh, we did this right as a society, and we did this completely wrong as a society.
Yeah, like maybe we shouldn't have exposed them to any of it, or like maybe we should have just kind of like pretended it wasn't that big of a deal because then they wouldn't have known. But we didn't know.
No, we were kind of being fed whatever we were being fed, and we were going by what we thought was best for our family at the time with the information that we had. And we couldn't do anything more than that. It's not, hindsight is 2020. You can blame everybody until till the cows come home. But at this point, like, what were we supposed to do? We didn't know what was going on. We are just everyday people that were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when the neighborhood Karen is yelling at you when you're outside with your kids on a scooter and yelling, put a mask on them.
Yeah,
And then, that's not going to scare a kid.
Of course,
Like,
it's scary.
why do I need a mask on? Am I going to die?
Especially a 7-year-old.
Exactly. So there was all kinds of scary things happening around them, and that's going to shift a brain. Now, it also depends on who you are as a person because another kid, it didn't affect at all,
Yeah.
But if you're paranoid already, or if you're someone that is predisposed for anxiety and you're highly emotional or highly sensitive, as they call those kids, highly feeling or whatever the stupid term is for those kids, one of those overly big feeling kids or stupid new age terms, Anyway, I'm a big feeling person, I think. I'm definitely a predisposed for anxiety person because I have anxiety. So this whole thing that happened this last week with Charlie Kirk, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
It was a super, super, this has been an awful, awful time in history. Honestly. I mean, obviously his murder, his assassination has been, it was already the day after, 2 days after, 3 days, a few days, I don't know, after the arena on the subway news, which no one wants to see that.
No, of course not.
So we have to see that.
Yeah.
And then We have to see. And I still, knock on wood, have not had a visual of the actual killing of Charlie Kirk. Thank God.
Good
Even
for
though,
you. Good.
you know, so many kids and so many people have been unfairly subject to see that.
Yep.
Right. But we talked last, I want to say Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
which was 9/11.
Yep.
He was murdered on 9/10,
Yeah,
the day
right.
before.
Mm-hmm.
We're now recording this on 9/17, so it's been exactly 7 days since he died.
Yep.
1 week of what has only, for me, has shown like a flashlight on the vast division in this world and in this country. I have never seen anything like what we've seen over the last week. It's been horrifying to see how insanely divided our country is over this, even.
Yeah. Um, and that's to say the least, because I feel like there's other things that I've seen in the last week regarding this, that regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk, where it has also shown me that this horseshoe theory is becoming. I mean, it already was real, but to understand like the extreme left and the extreme right putting so much blame on Jews
Oh,
and
forget it.
Israel. We can get into that in a minute, but it's we're seeing. You're right. The division of all of this, the fact that like people are still celebrating this and they just don't give a shit um, about the assassination. And then now with everything else, with the horseshoe theory, it's driving me crazy over this last week. And like you said, we were just reacting when we were recording last week. We were reacting to what we had just seen. We knew nothing. We knew nothing about the person who pulled the trigger. We knew nothing about any other news reports besides the fact that they had caught somebody, and that was pretty much it. And we had talked about seeing it on social media and then some of these reactions of people that are celebrating. And
Yeah.
I feel like the news cycle from that day when we recorded last week to today, it's just felt like decades of the amount of stuff that I've seen on TikTok and Instagram about Charlie Kirk and about everybody reacting to it. It's been insane, and it's just completely. I've never seen something like this for one person who, again, is not a politician, who is an activist, and obviously near and dear to the Republican Party. But still, I've never seen anything like this for an individual that was not even a politician. It's crazy.
It's so crazy how triggering his death has become to both sides,
Yeah.
how angry the left has become with the fact that the right side is mourning him, how angry the right side is that the left is not mourning him,
Mm-hmm.
how angry the left is at the mention of him in not a negative way from anyone that's not on the right, even.
Right.
Like Jamie Lee Curtis, this is a perfect example. Jamie Lee Curtis, someone who is so liberal, like to a fault liberal, like sees everything from like an ultra liberal stance. In fact, I believe has a transgender child.
Okay.
She is one of those that like you don't have to question where she votes. It's 100% liberal down the ticket. Okay.
Right.
She is as Hollywood liberal, Kamala lover type of person. Like there's no question. But she was on a podcast, Mark Maron,
Okay.
last week, at the end of the week. And all she did was get emotional over his death because she said, I abhorred his feelings, as I did not agree with his ideas, but he was a man of Christ. And I just pray for his family. And I pray that in the moment that he died, he felt like he was close to Christ or something. She said something along those lines. And it was such a class act
Yeah.
response. which was, I did not agree with him, but as a man, a father, and a husband, and a person that is, a God loving person or whatever you say, as I hope that in the moment that he died, he came home to his leader or whatever. I don't even know what.
Right. But yes.
And she said it through tears because she has a freaking heart. And instead of people saying, well, Republicans were like, that is a really kind response.
Yeah, from somebody who is
not on our side.
Outspoken Democrat, yes.
Exactly. But the liberal side could not handle it. And the response to that was not, wow, maybe I should look at that and say, like, that's actually and maybe there are a lot of liberals that felt that it was nice. And I just didn't see it. But the loud ones that I saw, the big responses that I saw is like, gotta remove her from our party, lost a star, can't support any of her movies anymore. God forbid someone on your team supports, and I can speak this as personally as someone that has a little bit of a public following, very small, a speck compared. I am not a political person. I don't speak about politics. The most I'll ever speak about anything is about, Israel and Judaism because of this podcast and my passion, being that I am Jewish. And every time I do, it always creates like discourse and upheaval in my following. But just speaking about it on my show that one day, because I was live when it happened, and then posting about it, not about his politics, not about his feelings, just about my sadness over his death, I have lost 1,000 Instagram followers and over 100 YouTube subscribers. I still can't believe how fast people leave over just pure sympathy.
And it's really dumb because, like, honestly, like you said, if you follow your Instagram or even, follow your podcast in general, you're not talking about this. You mention one thing and then it's
the day he died.
And then you move on, right? So in reality, why should you be judged on that one thing? If you had said, but then you turn it the other way, right? And then you say, like, let's say you got on and you started celebrating his death on an Instagram post or on your podcast or whatnot. Then I could see the other way making more sense, where people would drop you. I don't want to, like, if somebody, to me, for you to say, I feel for his family, I can't believe this just happened, whatever it was, like, that's just you being kind, right? That's just you being sympathetic towards the cause. If you are celebrating, that is honestly, it's pure evil. I understand that people do not like his politics, and he could be anti-LGBT, he could be anti-this, anti-that, but the guy never killed anybody. The guy sat out there and debated with people. So the fact that people are celebrating, if I was following somebody that I saw was celebrating, I would get rid of them too. But for you, it doesn't make any sense for you to come on and be sympathetic and then go off and you're done, never say anything again, and people are dropping you. It's ridiculous.
I really have, I've been so confused by it, and I keep thinking to myself, well, maybe people are really just so turned off that I even mentioned his name. Maybe people just really think the best response to it is no response at all, because that just shows that I'm politically connected to him. I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if you're going to unfollow me for that, then you're not my person anyway.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like a cleanse in some reality. Like they say, let the trash take itself out or whatever. But it's just interesting to me how many people were so turned off by one post saying, like, I am devastated over this. The other response that a lot of people get is the whataboutism, which reminds me a lot about the Jewish and the Free Palestine, about the hostages versus the dead in Gaza.
Yeah.
And it's the all lives matter response, which everyone hated during Black Lives Matter, but it's okay to do it about everything else, which I'm being very sarcastic about. Of course, all of a sudden, the murder of the senator in Minnesota, Melissa Hortman, that became everyone's biggest concern when no one talked about it. And I say this honestly, no one other than the news, talked about it. I never saw one influencer on the left ever talk about it, ever.
Right.
But all of a sudden it became like, where is everyone? Why doesn't I don't know. Why she was never I didn't know who she was before she died.
Well, I think that's probably it, right? Because no one, this person wasn't a, I think she was,
Public.
but I think she was a, what's it called? A state senator. It wasn't anybody who was like, I don't think she was in the Senate or whatever she was. But you have someone like Charlie Kirk, who is obviously really big and very much part of the political and social conversation, especially with the younger demographic at this point. Of course, you're going to have so much more coverage for him because you see his face. I don't even know what this other person looks like. Charlie Kirk, I can easily pick out of a lineup, like easily, because you know exactly what he looks like. You've seen him everywhere.
Well, he's an influencer on top of everything else. He had millions of followers. He was a YouTuber. He was a podcaster. He was a public figure. She was in the Senate. I can't name to you anyone in the Senate other than like I can name to you public speaking, like AOC types, like those types that are
Right.
constantly on, in the press. Like those, but I can't tell you all the random senators in California, even. So,
There's only 2 senators in California, but that's okay.
okay, there you go. And then also, see, I thought there was many. And then also, that was a private murder. Horrible.
Right.
Not debating that by any means. Death is awful and murders are horrible. But that was a this was meant to traumatize hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, and it did.
Yep. It's true.
You can't, it's apples and oranges. Sorry.
I know. The other interesting thing that happened last week with this, which is a little bit, it just shows again the divide, but just it's very interesting, is that so again, it happened on Wednesday the 10th, and then on September 11th was Thursday Night Football. And if you're a football fan, NFL fan, you'll know football happens. There's one game on Thursday night, a bunch of games on Sunday, and then 1 to 2 games on Monday night. So on Thursday night, they had, I don't remember the 2 teams that were playing, but they did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Okay. They had his face on the Jumbotron and they did a moment of silence. Now, people, of course, were up in arms saying, why would you do that for such a person? And all of this, right? So now you have a NFL who is, when you have other things that happen in the NFL that are social, political type stuff, like Colin Kaepernick and any of these things, the right is attacking the NFL. And now you have the left attacking the NFL because of what they did and showing his photo and doing a moment of silence for him. And it was interesting to see because then on Sunday and Monday, it was kind of split. Half the games did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk and the others didn't. So what we found out is that the one on Thursday, and the NFL mandated it. They said, you need to do it. This is part of kind of what we want for our league to show solidarity against this type of political violence. And then what they did is they gave the option to all the other teams and all the other games on Sunday and Monday to do it. So you had some that didn't and some that did, and was even
it was up to the owners of the teams.
Yeah, and exactly, the people who run all of that kind of stuff. But it is interesting because there's really no through line in what teams did it. Were they red states or blue states? It was very random. It didn't make any sense. But it was interesting to see people's reactions to that in the sports world. Speaking of sports world, sorry, one other thing. If you haven't, you should hear Stephen A. Smith's comments on what people did. And he's a Democrat, right? He's more moderate than anything else.
Definitely more moderate.
But what he said was just quite brilliant in his take of, not like people are not supposed to be this way when they are, when somebody's get assassinated. He's like, I do not agree with anything that this dude has to say for the most part. But why in the hell are you celebrating? It's just a good way. Obviously, I'm not wording it the way he did, but it's something to kind of seek out. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
Oh, and then to keep going with the Charlie Kirk thing. So
yeah,
I
I
said
want to
this,
talk.
I said this at the beginning of this discussion, which was the horseshoe effect, right?
Yes, this is a very important thing that we need to talk about.
So, and as I mentioned, this week has just been so full of news and so full of finger pointing. The amount of finger pointing that's going on from the left and the right, basically saying, "Hey, it was a person who was a Republican. They came from a Republican family," or it's like, "Oh, this person was living with a transgender." Whatever it was just everybody's trying to point the finger to say it's this type of person and fit them into their little box,
Yeah.
right? So then you have our two favorite people, and by favorite, I'm being extremely sarcastic. You have Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson basically starting this conspiracy theory that the reason he died is because of Israel and the Jews. He was being blackmailed by one of, I guess I'm trying to remember his name.
Oh, I know the whole story top to bottom. So
And
if
do
you
it.
need any
No,
filling
go.
in,
You
here we
keep
go.
going. You do it, and then I'll come.
Okay. I hate to even give more light to the story, but it's such a big story
Yeah,
and it's gaining more and more traction by the hour, and it's really scary. It's actually really scary for Jews and for Israel.
and I'll tell you why when you're finished. This is the horseshoe part of it is what's freaking the fuck out of me. But
Well,
continue.
I don't know why. I mean, it's already there.
But it got worse this morning.
It got worse.
Well, in my head it got worse. I'm not saying it got worse for everybody else, but in my head it got worse. Just go.
I mean, it's already there.
I know.
The
Just tell
left
the story.
hates us and the
I
right
know.
hates us.
But tell the story, and then I'll chime in.
So I'll try to make it brief because it's very detailed. And I don't want to draw any more attention for you guys to go and watch it. But if you were interested in this, Candace Owens came up because of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is actually who gave, even though she is older than Charlie, Candace Owens came up because of Turning Point. Charlie Kirk started Turning Point when he was 18 years old. Candace was probably 20, 23, 24, something like that. And she was a young Republican. He was obviously a Republican as well. And she didn't have a big career. And he was like, come with me. He brought her along on all of his speaking gigs. She spoke about this. Actually, I watched the episode. This is before she started to blame Israel. This was the day after he died on September 11th. I watched the episode and I actually teared up. It was a beautiful tribute towards him because they do have crazy history. They went on tour together for multiple years in the early, times of their career. They came up together and they went from school, from stage, from school, small little speaking engagements, stayed in shitty, crappy hotels together. Of course, as you do when you're in those situations, you become so close. You were brother and sister. She was more of like the culture person. He was more of the politics person. And they really, really bonded. And then, of course, throughout their careers, she ended up starting to eventually work for Prager University, and he ended up starting to do his own thing. And she ended up going, she ended up meeting her husband, and then she helped him, when he eventually met Erica. And they had this really adorable, it looked like, I mean, she's obviously telling the story, so she's making it sound like everything minus a couple little jabs here and there was like so perfect and so
Right.
great. And they had this perfect relationship. Who knows the truth? We don't know. Eventually, as you know, she has left the building in the last few years. When she got fired from working with Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager and all of them, she has completely turned on the Jews. She has completely turned on Israel. In fact, I would say that she has completely turned against them. And as you know, on the Candace show, which she does every day on YouTube, and she's incredibly successful. It's very dangerous because she's so successful. She, instead of only just attacking Brigitte Macron and that whole situation, Emmanuel Macron's wife, and Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, she also attacks Israel in every possible way she can. So whether it's with the war, but now this is a perfect opportunity. So when she was talking about Charlie Kirk and his death, she was very, very it was very sentimental. It was beautiful. She was talking about their love of music and this and that. But then at the end of the conversation, she just teased it. And she said, I believe Charlie was under immense pressure towards changing his mind about something. And I'm not going to say anything more. But of course, it's Candace Owens. So by the next few days, and of course, I went out to Vegas, so I kind of like stepped out. But by the next few days, she comes back and she's like, I have information. So her version of the story is that they went to Charlie Kirk was invited to, no, I will say this. What happened was on August 5th to August 6th, there was a man named Bill Ackman.
Yes, that's the name I was looking for.
Bill Ackman is this billionaire hedge fund, huge Zionist, American, huge Zionist donor to Israel guy. Who is he other than that? I don't know much about him. I know he is an incredible human being from everyone that I know that knows of him. I've never heard bad things about him. Why does he have that much money? People like to say, oh, that seems very suspicious. I don't know. How many rich Jews are there in the world? How many rich non-Jews are there in the world?
Yeah.
Some people just have a lot of money. Like,
yeah, people are good at their jobs and make a lot of fucking money.
But of course, you know, if you're against Jews, you're going to be like, that seems strange. He's got to be in the Mossad.
Yeah, of course, everybody.
Exactly. So this guy basically reaches out to Charlie Kirk. Either Charlie reaches out to him or he reaches out to Charlie sometime earlier in the spring, and they get together to say, we should connect, because what's happening, and this is the honest truth, is, and I agree with this, is that young conservatives, Charlie's audience, are turning on Israel. And I'm not ashamed to say this. Israel is losing the popularity contest.
Right.
Okay? PR sucks for Israel. Israel is failing in every capacity other than the actual war. They're failing in every capacity. And the world is turning on Israel. The media is turning on Israel, and the popularity is turning on Israel. And the influencers are turning on Israel, and everyone's turning on Israel. And so what's happening is that Charlie Kirk was struggling because he was going out to talk to these young conservatives on college campuses, and they were saying, Charlie, we want to be in the conservative party, but we're struggling because your biggest ally is Israel. And how do we get behind that? Because we don't like Israel. And so Charlie is saying to Bill, who is the biggest Israel supporter, and Bill's saying to Charlie, we need to figure this out.
Right.
What is the best ways that we can get through to the young people about why Israel is not the devil? Because Charlie actually likes Israel. Charlie was a Zionist till the day he died, and I stand by this.
Yeah.
So they decide to have this kind of like conference, 30 or so influencers. I say influencers, but they're like smart, young conservative, mostly men, probably some women. I have no idea. They all go to the Hamptons, August 5th through 6th. They have 4 topics that they cover, one being Israel. But there's other things that they cover. Mamdani. I forget what the other 2 are. But it's not an only Israel conference.
Right.
Just one of the topics is Israel. Bill says in his own tweet, because he had to come back after Candace smeared him, but he says, I was in and out of meetings. I was there. I came and had lunch with them. Charlie ran the things. Other influencers are there. It was really productive. We had great conversation. It went on for 2 days. Goodbye. Candace comes on her show and she says, I know for a fact, I have receipts that he was threatened during this weekend. He was threatened. He was blackmailed. He was pressured. He was yelled at by Bill Ackman and maybe other people, that if he doesn't continue his strong, staunch support towards Israel, he will A, B, and C.
Right.
Basically a mafia hit. Like, you better support Israel. Your life is over. It is so damaging for Bill Ackman's like reputation and for Israel's reputation.
Yeah, of course. It definitely is.
Now, August 6th, Charlie Kirk comes home, goes on to his show, and Megyn Kelly has Charlie Kirk on her show. Just happens to be. Now, Megyn Kelly, who is a huge Zionist as well, has also voiced similar feelings that Charlie has. Said, I'm struggling. Yep. Israel is kind of like losing the battle a little bit in the PR world, and I want them to wrap the shit up. I I'm annoyed hearing that, but as a Jew who supports Israel, I get it.
Of course.
It doesn't make me hate Megan. It doesn't make me think that she's not on Israel's side. She straight up says, I am a Zionist. I want them to win. But they are freaking losing the battle right now in the world, and they are going to lose more people every day that they keep this going. We have to figure it out.
Yep.
As if like anyone has a better solution. Right?
Right.
Okay. So he's on the show with Megan and they have the conversation. He has just come back from this conference the day before or that day. And he says, I get it. I voice similar concerns, and some people call me an anti-Semite for it, but it's not the case. I love Israel, like I'm a Zionist. So they're having this open dialogue about it. Does that sound like someone who's just been threatened, blackmailed? You have to support Israel with your life. It doesn't sound like he's scared. It doesn't sound like he's like, no, Israel is amazing. He's open. He's like, yeah, this is an honest conversation. I really want people, I really want Israel to win, but like, yeah, it's a total normal conversation. Today, Bill Ackman produces text messages.
Yep.
Okay, you continue. Say it, because I'm talking too much.
Basically saying that, they reconnected afterwards, they being Ackman and Charlie Kirk.
August 15th, 10 days later.
Basically saying, hey, thanks for, thanks. We had a great time during the conference. It was amazing. We did a lot of work. It was great stuff. We should basically hang out again.
With our wives.
Yeah, with the wives. So to me, it's like, and Ackman was basically saying it is completely BS. We did not do any of this. What Candace Owens is saying is bullshit. It is basically, we just had this conference. We didn't threaten. There was no blackmailing. We wanted to hang out afterwards. Obviously, that didn't happen because he was assassinated. But they wanted to hang out and just do something. So to me, that doesn't sound like somebody who is trying to threaten or blackmail another person. It sounds like they were friends.
It totally does. And like, honestly, what I question is, and then, Lance just sent me while I'm talking to you a reel that Tucker Carlson just posted, because Tucker, of course, is now trying to smear Bill Ackman as well and is going hard in on this too. Now, Bill Ackman has the financial means to sue the shit out of Candace and Tucker for this, because this is so damaging for him if this is not true. And I wish he would, because I would love for them to shut up about this. And the fact that they're doing this about a man who has not even been buried. Like, what are they doing? Now, the problem with this is that I saw that Bill Ackman produces these text messages to say like, hello. And by the way, Charlie Kirk's own team and pastor have come out and said this is BS.
Yep.
But no one is believing anyone except Candace. Except the Jews. The Jews are believing, but everyone that wants to pin everything on Israel and the Jews always are like, I want to see timestamps. This feels AI.
So this is where I come in and say, and I re-mention the horseshoe theory, because right before we got on to record this, I was just scrolling through TikTok, and I don't know how my algorithm ended up like this, but it just did. I came across a few different extreme left people who are basically saying, oh my God, I can't believe this. I agree with Candace Owens. I agree with Candace Owens. I agree with Tucker Carlson. So again, they are taking these conspiracy theories against Jews in Israel, and they are uniting together the left, the extreme left, and the extreme right.
Yeah.
And it is just duping more and more people. And this is why it's extremely scary now, because as we've been talking about the left and, everything they've done on college campuses, everything they do on TikTok and blaming Israel and the Jews, all of that. But then when you see the actual, it's like I see like two hands coming together and shaking, right? Like they're shaking hands now. Now they see eye to eye. They did see eye to eye, but they didn't realize it until this moment that they see eye to eye. They may not see eye to eye on everything, but if they can fuck with the Jews in Israel and do that, that is something that they can agree on, and they're going to push that message forward as much as humanly possible.
Yep.
I don't know what to say anymore with this kind of stuff. And I'm like, and it's only going to get worse with this type of rhetoric because, as you said, people are asking more questions. They're thinking it's AI. But the problem is, you have people like Tucker, you have people like Candace, who have these big megaphones and can reach a lot of people. And then at the same time, as Megyn Kelly basically said, is they're losing the PR war. This doesn't help. This is just shaving more people off the Israel train, and now everything's going to is going to continue being blamed. I mean, it's enough already with they're
The
using
war.
the war. Epstein is another conspiracy theory that is always going to be placed in the Israel Jew Mossad whole conspiracy. It just seems like whenever I feel like, oh, there's like a breath of fresh air, it's just like this stack of chips get higher and higher and higher against us.
I know. I can't believe that we're dealing with this with Charlie Kirk. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, I know.
This actually scared me this morning when I woke up and saw the rhetoric online. Because I'm like, this is and what's happening with the FBI investigation on this Tyler Robinson. I'm like, well, of course they're going to look for someone else to blame because they're not presenting good evidence in any way that it's him. What they're presenting with Charlie Kirk, with this Tyler Robinson, is like a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I know. I don't know who to. I'm trying to tune it out as much as possible, that part, because do I care why he did it? I care that he did it, and I care that.
But do you think he did it?
That he shot?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, honestly. Like I said, I'm trying to keep I'm trying to keep as much out of it as possible. Why? Is there a second gunman on the grassy knoll? Is that what's happening here?
Everyone's now saying that there had to have been a second gunman somewhere because there's no way that this guy up there shot it. And then how do you get it down in the gun? And everyone's coming up with all these different things.
Yeah, it's like JFK all over again. More like, who's the actual shooter?
And didn't they say JFK was also Israel?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure part of whatever conspiracy.
Candace did.
Candace did. Of course she did.
No, of course she did. That's what I'm saying. Candace Owens, and that's what's so frustrating is people that don't know a lot about Candace. So there's this one girl that follows me, and she's never heard really Candace before, but she watched this, and she's like, it really does seem like Israel. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Everything is Israel for Candace for 3 years now. Yeah. Everything. The reason why blank is going to win Dancing with the Stars is because of Israel. It's crazy what's happening over there.
Now you're working me up. You got my anxiety.
My anxiety's high.
All-time high.
No, I'm highly anxious over this. This one takes it to a new level. The war, I'm like, okay, so let them hate Israel. I don't know what else to say, but they're going to hate Israel. Fine. This one is too close to home because it's in America.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's just.
And for some reason, I'm like, why are people looking at someone who's presenting text messages and saying, but we still believe Candace Owens? When she has not one receipt to prove. By the way, just FYI, I don't believe that Candace and Charlie were friends when he died. I don't believe that they have a picture together in the last 3 years. I don't believe that they had a close friendship. She is not invited to his funeral. She's not speaking at any of these live streamed events that he's had. This weekend, there was a big live streamed vigil that people from the White House spoke at and stuff. She wasn't invited. Do
Yeah.
you think Erica Kirk appreciates that she's doing this?
No, of course not. She doesn't. Well, what Candace said is that the only person can make me stop doing this is Erica Kirk. So now
So
she's
I would love to see
Erica.
Erica Kirk come out and speak up.
Well, I mean, but Erica Kirk just lost her husband.
Yeah, but Erica Kirk, if she really does believe that Charlie Kirk loved Israel to the very end, then she should come out at some point in the next few days and say one statement. Look, she already spoke to the nation. She could put out a statement and say, Charlie Kirk loved Israel and these conspiracy theories need to be put to rest.
Yeah.
Because this is getting out of control. I mean, she's got to know how dangerous this can get.
Who? Kirk?
Erica and like the whole Turning Point world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's building steam by the moment.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a little mad at you, Donna, because I had therapy earlier today. I wish I had therapy.
Well, why are you doing just you and me after therapy?
I really should. Like, I thought this was going to be therapy.
This is never therapy.
No, it should be. I'm at least I get some of my, get some of it out. Ugh. We didn't even get to talk about
Free Palestine.
The Emmys and
Hannah Loosebinder.
oh my God, what an
or Javier Hamas Bardem.
I'm not going to share the picture, the AI picture you keep sending me
of him with a big penis in his hand.
Yes, holding it towards his face.
Javier Bardem's agent is a Jew.
I know.
I found this out. Explain how in the world you can represent a man that is wearing a keffiyeh if you're Jewish.
I don't know. And I guess, and I'm not saying this is a good excuse, but he probably makes him a lot of money, so he doesn't want to get rid of him. Again, it's a terrible reason, and it doesn't.
What you think he's not replaceable money at a big agency like WME?
I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but there must be a cost analysis this guy did in his head, basically saying, if I lose him, can I get somebody, whatever it is. I don't know. It's annoying that I have to, hear all of this shit. I didn't even watch the Emmys. It was the first time, probably in a long time, I didn't watch it because I knew. Yeah, because I looked at the list of people who were nominated, and I looked at who was going to be there and probably who was going to get a lot of screen time. And I see that those two, as well as others, were nominated. So I didn't even want to take the chance to they're just too outspoken about this for me to actually enjoy myself. It's the same thing about seeing concerts. I don't want to go see a concert and be lectured to by somebody who has a lack of information. It's the same thing here. I don't want to watch these and then hear all of this stuff. It's interesting. I saw another thing on TikTok. I don't remember. There's Golden Globes. I don't remember how many years ago, but Ricky Gervais, basically, he was hosting one of them, and he said, he's like, stop with these political speeches. It's like, just get up here, thank your God, thank your agent, thank your family. No one wants to hear any of this BS about your political stances, and get off. Keep it short. And everybody gave him a standing ovation. Everybody cheered. Fast forward to the Emmys this year, and it's the exact opposite.
Well, every year. I think every year it hasn't been the same?
I feel like there have been years that haven't been as bad, where it hasn't been as in your face.
No, every year it's worse. This was the only year. The only thing that we had was Hannah Einbinder saying Free Palestine.
You have him wearing the keffiyeh.
Yeah, but that wasn't, he wasn't on stage.
It doesn't, the amount of times that you see him in the crowd, or you see him in the pre-show, you see him online everywhere. It is infuriating. The fact that you're sending me pictures of him, that lives on. I didn't watch it live. Doesn't mean I have to see it every day.
I think that he was ridiculed, and I think that most people laughed in his face, and I think that she honestly got more bad press than good press from that.
For her, I agree. But the thing is, like you just said it yourself, the agent didn't even drop him. A
Well, I
Jewish
don't
agent,
know. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. It's been
but
2
right
days.
now, it's been
We don't know. We don't know what's
2
going
days.
on.
It's the end of Wednesday.
You think it's 100% like it would be front page news? You don't
No,
know what's happening, what
find
kind of
out.
conversations are happening.
Every day that goes by, the less I think it's going to happen. A lot of times, this shit happens right away, where people get dropped because
You
they don't
don't
want
know what's
any
happening.
associates. Of course, I don't know. I can only assume. But people get
But
dropped
he's
all the
been
time.
but he has been an anti-Semite since 2014 when he first signed a letter with Penelope Cruz, his
Yeah,
wife, saying that Israel was a genocidal country.
yeah.
So Israel is the worst country at genocide because they've been trying to genocide other countries for 11 years. So
Okay.
if you've been trying to genocide Palestine or whatever the hell it is for 11 years and you're not able to do it, like you suck.
Yes, I agree. No,
So it's not about Gaza and it's not about this war. Javier Bardem is an anti-Semite and that agent signed him knowing it.
yeah, and he hasn't done anything about it.
She.
Sorry. Oh, the she. She hasn't done anything about it.
Nope. So there you go. These people know who they're signing. So don't expect them to all of a sudden be these like virtue
Yeah, that's what
filled
I'm saying.
people.
I know that. I know that. I get that.
And Miss Rachel is signed by a Jewish agent at
Mhm.
CIA as well. So what do you expect? You expect these Hollywood people to actually care about their morals and values more than
No, of course
money?
not. Of course, that's what I said. I said she probably realizes that she can continue to make more money with him, so there was no reason to drop.
And then they're probably sleeping really shitty at night.
I don't know. They're sleeping in their beds of money, just made out of cash.
That money only takes you so far.
Money can't buy you class. As somebody told me that once, and her name was Luann.
Countess Luann.
Yes, yes.
Aw, well, Adam, I know it's a bad week.
But next week is Rosh Hashanah,
Yes.
which, at the very least, let's celebrate a
Sweet
new
New
year.
Year. A sweet new year. Apples dipped in honey for Rosh Hashanah. My kids have no school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Well, this is what happens when you send your kid to a Jewish school. We just don't have Tuesday. That's it. Just Tuesday. They're going
Lucky.
back on Wednesday.
Lucky.
Are you going to synagogue, or do you
I
know?
don't. I don't go to synagogue.
So we will be there on Tuesday and dragging my children there. It's going to be
The one that you've always gone to?
No, the one I've always gone to. I used to go to the one across the street from the Jewish
Yeah.
school.
Oh, okay.
We go to TBH.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. Having some family over. Lauren's baking like crazy and
Is it a
cooking.
really woke temple?
No, absolutely not.
I feel like it is. The last time I was there, I was like, oh, it's real woke.
It's not because of
You're probably going to say free Luigi or something.
no. Because of the people who are part of it, and I know at this point I know a lot of people who are members. It is far from woke. You have someone who could be a little bit woke, but this is definitely the most definitely not in terms of wokeness. In terms of the people who go there.
All right. Well, Shana Tova.
Shana Tova to you as well.
And to everyone listening, Happy New Year, Shana Tova. May the next year be sweeter than this. And let's bring the hostages home.
Yes, please. Oh, let this
Let's
be
end this.
End it.
Alrighty. All
right.
Die. End. Stop it. Die. All right. Not die. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Don.
Die. Okay, bye.
Wrong holiday. Bye.
It's a wrong holiday, right? That's
Wrong.
Passover.
Yeah.
Okay, love you. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.